Alright, hello, and welcome back to Realms of Magic, my latest playthrough. I'm going to just run a mace character through the game and see how it goes, and hopefully offer some tips along the way. The last time I played, I ran through the town of Woodbury and did a bunch of the starter quests, and picked up a bunch of loot. Now what I'm going to do is go into one of the sandbox zones in this area and clear it out at the surface and possibly establish a base. So I'm going to start right here. I don't know if there's a difference between the plains and the forest, because I know that I know for sure that if I go in the plains, I'm going to find a bunch of trees. So I don't know if there's any actual difference between the terrain types here. But anyways, here I'm gonna mark. I like to mark the zone with either a leaf or a pick or a house. A house means there's a base there. A leaf means that I've cleared the surface, and a pick means I've set up a mine. Your mileage may vary. Do as you will. But here we go. Okay, you know what I should have done? Should wait till it was daytime. Okay, let's try it again. Alright, that's better. Now, I'm going to spend a little time here digging up some stone. It's a handy building material, and also I definitely need some of it for one of the quests. Now, this game resembles Terraria, or Terraria, however it's pronounced. In that there's a background and a foreground to everything, so you right-click to place something in the background, you left-click to place it in the foreground, and likewise when you're mining it. So I'm right-clicking on these background stones. Okay. Generally speaking, everything else you interact with the E key, including so generally speaking, in these sandbox zones, you'll find things like that, where there was a little patch of cabbages. There are also potatoes. There's also something you can harvest called jute, which when you take it to a spinning wheel, crafting building, you can turn it into burlap. Left click, chop the tree down. Now this guy over here is a bandit. He's going to try to fight me, so I'm going to just go into combat mode and beat him up. Pine seeds. I hang on to seeds, tree seeds, even though I almost never actually plant any trees. R to switch in and out of combat mode. Feather Few is an herb that you can use in basic herbalism. There, I just picked up some jute. Apple trees drop apples, which is great because That's what I'm using as my food right now. Apples don't give you any buffs, but they do satisfy your hunger. Chickens are passive. They're farmable animals, which means that if I had a base and I had a chicken coop and some chicken feed, I could tame these guys and put them in my chicken coop. But none of those things are true yet, so instead I'm just going to beat them up and take their stuff. When you kill chickens, they drop feathers and raw chicken and eggs. The chicken and eggs you can use for cooking, and the feathers you can use to make beds. Giant rats. You can also encounter giant rats underground. Giant rats drop rat pelts. They also drop rat meat, which you can use for cooking. The pelts are used for leatherworking. I just found some potatoes. Now, being as I just found a naturally occurring water fountain, I'm gonna do nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone for now. I'm also probably gonna edit this trip through here because I'm not gonna make you watch me chop down every single pine tree. This is tedious and not fun. But I do need the wood for multiple purposes. I need pine wood for I have 2 quests that need pine wood, and pine wood is also used for a lot of basic building. Oh. Well, if it isn't a NPC. Now, the nice thing about NPCs is that you can tell them you want to come with me, and you can and they'll follow you around, and then you can tell them to stay. So what you do with these guys is you tell them come with me, and they follow you around, and you can travel to the zones, and they'll follow you, and then you can tell them to stay somewhere, and that's a good way to establish having NPCs in your base. So I'm just going to make a note. Let's call it the Sail Lumberjack. That way I'll hopefully remember to come back here and get this guy. A wolf. Key to fighting wolves is to get behind them, because they do other damage by jumping at you. But if you're behind them, the jumping doesn't work. I'm going to grab this sand, which is in the background right there. You can also encounter big chunks of it in the foreground. And you need sand to make glass. You need glass to make bottles. Okay, so I just got to 25, probably is what that means. Yeah, so I just passed 25. I need 50 for the other guy, and I need 75 total so I can get both of their You hear me frantically clicking my mouse button to attack. And this is just me going across the surface of this zone. All these zones are randomly generated in terms of the terrain. You know how there's and the occasional distribution of water fountains. And hostile enemies. But there's also an underground, and I'll be showing the how to dig in the ground and create a mine and go after the mobs that are down there. I think the only difference between the surface and the underground in terms of enemies is that underground there aren't any wolves or bandits in Woodbury, but there are kobolds and troglodytes down there, and giant rats. So there's giant rats everywhere. More bandits. Okay, so one of those guys dropped a Splinterville map fragment. That's a crafting material. Once I've got 10 of these, I can use them to create a full map of Splinterville, which is the next zone. So this is Woodbury. This is right here is the village of Woodbury. Splinterville is this region right here. And there's two ways to get that map. One is to finish the main quest line in Woodbury, and the other way is to find 10 map fragments and craft them into a map. And the map fragment thing recurs all the way through the game. So each time you go into a new zone, the drops change to the next map. And once you've got more than 10, you can just sell the fragments that you don't need. And also you need to keep scaling up your crafting ability, because you don't just automatically get to make the maps. You have to skill up. Alright, sorry chickens. But you're just too valuable early on. Alright, here's a big patch of sand and rock. There will eventually come a point in the game where I don't just mindlessly harvest all the sand that I see. But that'll be after I have all the glass bottles I want. Okay, it used to be in the early access version of the game that the humanoid mobs, like the bandits, for example, didn't drop any loot. They didn't drop any loot. Now, in the retail version of the game, they drop all kinds of stuff, including potions, map fragments, water bottles, food, gear, and etc. And the fact that they drop potions means that it's going to reach a point where I'm not going to have to ever buy or craft any health pots or stamina pots or mana pots if I was into mana. There are potions. Oh, here I am at the end of the zone. Did I even get enough wood to... Oh, I did. Okay, so I got enough wood to fill in the 2 quests. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to town and finish Renaud, I think. Yeah, Renaud. Alright, so I'm just going to go on down and take care of his needs. That's probably the end of his quest when I drop off the wood. And he'll probably reward me with something, so that'll be nice. And also, I should note that when you harvest fruit off of a fruit tree like the apple tree, eventually it will grow new apples. I don't know exactly how long it takes, but they will grow new apples. Here's your wood. Ah, money. Okay. Okay. And some of these various NPCs will offer to train, you can say, train me in wood cutting. He wants 1 gold to train me. My current, let's see, where P is the professional. Oops, okay, get out of here. I don't have enough money. Goodbye. P is your professions. My current wood cutting level is 5, and that's just from going around and cutting trees down. And I may have read a scroll or 2, I don't remember. But mining and wood cutting are the 2 that you're going to self skill up the most. Because mining, you skill up mining whenever you dig up a piece of dirt or a rock in the ground. Wood cutting every time you cut down a tree. Likewise, herbing and farming. I haven't got any husbandry yet because I haven't done anything with animal feed or animal pens or husbanding animals. So that's why it's still only level 1. This has all just come from the activities I've done for the blacksmith guy. Likewise here. Trading, every time you sell something, your trading skill goes up a little bit. So this guy's offering to help me skill up my wood cutting for 1 gold, which, how much do I have? I have 52 silver, so I have half a gold. Oh, here's my reward. What's this? Improved mana. Well, that's nice. Alright, so that was clearing a zone. I didn't like how much wood I got. I wonder if I would get more wood if I went into an actual forest zone. Let's try that. Okay, again, I'm going to edit some of this and not make you watch every single tree get cut down. Anyway, the more pine trees I cut down, the better, because I will need the wood. Speaking of that, why don't I demonstrate handcrafting? So most stuff that you can craft, you want to build a special building for it, but some things you can craft. So if you hit the H key, it brings up the things that you can do by hand, and that includes turning pine wood into pine planks, and then turning pine planks into sticks or pine platforms. You can make your most basic building, the pine workbench. You can also fashion stone into stone bricks. You can make torches if you happen to have some burlap cloth. You can make, and then you can make the map of Splinterville, which I mentioned previously. Scroll of knowledge you make from these orbs, which you obtain by doing by going into dungeons, basically. Finding the blue orbs come from finding secrets. The red orbs come from fighting powerful monsters. Once you pile up enough of them, you can craft a scroll of knowledge, which gives you an extra skill point. So that's the point of doing that. But this is the full list of things you can craft by hand. This is the basic crafting table, which is what you use. And there are these things, by the way, pine workbenches. They're all over the place in Woodbury, so you don't have to do this out in the woods. You can kind of use, with the exception of storage, you can use Woodbury as your temporary base until you're ready to set up your own place. The reason to have your own place is you can have storage. You can't make storage in Woodbury. You have to set it up somewhere else. And so the question is, when do I decide that I've found a place that's good to have a base? What I would like to do is find a place that's got a relatively level stretch of terrain, so I don't have to do too much digging or other terraforming to have a base that's not just a crazy set of hills and so forth. This kind of looks like a nice place right here, actually. Okay, guys. Something else you might have noticed, your character always looks in the direction that your cursor is, and you can't run away from the cursor. You can only run towards the cursor. Yeah. Okay, so there's an example of skilling up, causing me to level up. So I just leveled up my wood cutting, and as a result, the XP pushed me over the threshold to level 5. I'm now level 5, which means that I have access to this level of talents in the mace tree. Also this level of talents in the general combat tree. Of course, this has a prerequisite. Okay, that's nice, but I think it's more important to increase my mace damage. So I'm going to take that. Now this one is a prereq for the two that are next to it, so when I get more skill points, I can get those as well. And generally speaking, with talents, with skills, not skills, but with your talents, you want to go vertical, like on whatever you've picked. So if you pick mace as your combat skill, you want to go vertical on it whenever possible. And then when you're between tiers, so like I'm going to be able to get these two with my next 2 points, but then that'll leave me with at least 3 more levels to go before I can get to here, which is when you go to spend points in your other tree. And like I said, well, there'll be demonstrations later, but you go into the dungeons to get the orbs so that you can get skill points outside of leveling. So that's your main incentive for going into dungeons and getting secrets and killing the bosses of the dungeons. Okay, I like this area. So I think right around, yeah, this is relatively level. Oh, oops, I'm out of stamina. All the way back to about here. So maybe this isn't so bad. But all right. All right. So I think right here, I'm going to set up at least my temporary Well, it's not temporary. It's going to be a full base. But, okay, so I'm going to make some planks. What have I got? I got a lot of wood now. Alright. Okay. Take some of the planks I just made and turn them into sticks. Just so I have some more sticks. Also, whoops, take those planks and put them on my hot bar, just so I'm storing them somewhere there useful. And then make some, definitely make some platforms. Platforms are actually functional. And then a workbench. I'm going to take the workbench and set him right down here for now. And now in my pine workbench I can make all kinds of stuff, including a chicken coop, but not just yet. First I'm going to make a crate. And I'm making a crate because I don't have the materials for a chest yet. I prefer to store things in chests. Alright, so now I'm just going to stash all of my stuff. I also want a cook pot. So I've made myself a little extra food out of the rats that I've killed. Spinning wheel. I want a spinning wheel so that I can make some rope. Whoops. Oh. I want the rope, excuse me, I want the rope so that I can make a well. And then, let's see, let's put this here. Alright, I'm not good enough at cooking to make chickens yet, so let's put them in here. Put this in here. I also want a signpost. Here they are. Here's a signpost. Alright. Alright, so the signpost will let me travel back here from wherever else I am. So speaking of that, let's go find that lumberjack. Here we go. Alright, come with me. See, he starts following me around. So now we travel to here. I'm going to change the symbol on this, and this is going to be hold on. Well, then, why don't you stay here? Yeah, he's a hunter. You can tell by the feather in his cap that he's a hunter. Excuse me. Come with me. Now, instead of taking him straight back to the base, I'm just going to make him follow me around while I finish clearing out this zone. He doesn't interact with any bad actors, so if I encounter any bandits or wolves or rats, they'll fight me, and I'll leave them alone. Excuse me. Oh, this is the end of the zone anyway. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.